get out there and get yourself a buddy or two and just challenge the system, that's all.
Hi, this is Lynn Widmeyer, and today I'm honored to have as my guest George Rutherford. George is a lifelong resident of Jefferson County and has spent most of his life engaged in pursuing civil rights for the African American community at the local level, the state level, and of course the national level as well. So George, at the end of the year, is going to retire as president of the Jefferson County NAACP. And how long were you president?
It'll be 50 years then this year, 50 years complete.
50 years. So what more appropriate time than to talk to George about what does he see as sort of your major accomplishments of the NAACP and you over those past 50 years. And I think even more importantly, George, is what kind of advice would you give or direction would you give to the next generation of civil rights activists? Let's just start out, George, and just tell us a little bit about your personal life in Jefferson County and how you got involved in the NAACP.
Well, I was born and raised in Jefferson County all my life. And I left and went in the service.
And you were born in 1935, so you're coming up on 89 years.
Correct. And I really wasn't that involved in civil rights early. I didn't really get involved in civil rights until I really got down in Huntington when I was going to college, to graduate school. But it was not the NAACP. But I really got involved with NAACP around 1972, something like that. And I didn't want to really get involved with NAACP because they weren't that strong. I guess I was used to more active and maybe hell raising.
I remember you saying that in another filmed interview, that you going from that activist, go get 'em, rip-roaring approach to the NAACP, you sort of had to revise your approach.
Yeah, but it was James Talbot that really did the difference. I came back home here in around 70. He asked me to get involved, and I didn't want to get involved. But then I still more or less ran around behind him and different things. And he carried me along with him. And then gradually, I saw that he was really making progress. But I will say in all fairness, all the king we was raising before I came back to the NAACP, I wasn't making much progress. Just making lots of noise and very little progress. But once I came back here and got involved with Talbot, we saw a whole lot of changes taking place. We saw changes in education. We saw made changes in employment, changes in appointments, and people working for the city government and so forth. Those things didn't happen before, but once I got involved with Talbot, we began to make changes.
What made the difference in your successes? What would you say? What approaches got you these changes, or got the community these changes?
Well, the changes really took place because we really confronted the people. We confronted them, but also at the same time now, civil rights was the main thing going at that time. The 64 bill has passed and the school integration took place. And so everyone was talking about civil rights and equal rights, so it was being pushed. And the federal government backed it up then. But now, it's not the case as it was then.
Now we're sitting in your house where you have lived for 59 years here in Ranson, and you had to fight to get the loan to get this house, didn't you?
Well, I couldn't get a loan. When I got out of the service, I tried to get this house built, and no banks in Jefferson County or Berkeley County or up in Clark County will loan me the money for it.
Amazing.
And so I had to get a direct loan from the VA to have the house built. But then on top of that, I couldn't get a permit to build the house once I got the money. I had to threaten to sue, well actually not me, but the VA threatened to sue the city of Ransom unless they gave me a permit to build a house.
That is amazing.
But I'm not the only one. Talbot had the same problem as far as getting money to build his house.
Well, and then what changes have you seen in the area of education? Because I know at some point you and Mr. Talbert weren't even allowed to attend the Board of Education meetings.
Well, this was in around 1970. I can recall very well Talbert and myself going to the Board of Education meeting, and we were stopped right at the front door and told we were not.
This is George. This is 1970. This isn't 1950. This is 1970.
We were told we were not allowed in at night. Well, it's nothing. The city of Charlestown did the same thing. We used to go to the city of Charlestown council meeting, and the mayor would say, we're not going to hear from you all tonight. That's all to it. But we made a point to go to every council meeting just to go there to not raise Cain, but to bring up some kind of issues. And most of the time, they listen to us, and sometimes they say, we don't want to hear you tonight.
I have a friend who, when she advocates for change, says endless pressure, endlessly applied. And it sounds like that's what you and Mr. Tolbert and the NAACP did. You just kept pushing.
We did. And we found it really worked. We used to see Tolbert and self work in Washington, D.C., and we used to ride the train home together every day. And we would sit together and plot on the train where we're going to go today.
I knew there was a good reason to commuting.
We decided what meeting we're going to go to tonight and what the issue. And lots of time we wouldn't really have an issue, but we make them think of the issue.
Well, did you have a lot of support? Did you have a lot of people helping you out at this point?
Yeah, we had the NAACP members who were very, very strong. We had people like Mrs. Ollie Talbert, Mrs. Doyle Washington. These were older people. I'm not talking about older. I'm talking about in their 70s and 80s, and they were really the backbone of the NAACP, because we know, regardless of what happened, they would always have our back. I still get calls, and I get about maybe 3 or 4 calls a week on people that have problems.
Really?
Yes, 3 or 4 calls a week. But lots of them was not really racial as such, but lots of them was people, females call, but they being discriminated against, or even the seniors being discriminated against. We get calls from all over the country.
Well, now, you've mentioned Mr. Tolbert, who passed away a couple of years ago. Has it been that long now? And you and he were such good friends and such good advocates for civil rights. Was that important to have him at your side, or the two of you as a team, as you went through this period?
Well, actually, Talbert was the backbone of it. Let's face it. He was out there years before I was. He's out there by himself. Just like a personal woman. He's out there fighting battle by himself. And I just came along and began to help him.
How did you connect? Have you been lifetime friends, or how did he get his hooks in you?
Well, we belonged to the same club. We belonged to a club called the Zenith Club. And we both belonged to the Masonic Lodge. Uh-huh. And also I knew Talbert when he was in high school, and I was in school. So we all knew each other.
So you go back a long way. One of the qualities I think both you and Mr. Tolbert showed in all this struggle is you were always so calm and stated what you needed in a calm manner. Did you ever? How did you maintain that sense of hope and change, and that things could be better? What sustained that?
Well, we knew things were going to change, because things were changing. And we also knew that all we had to do is keep on fighting, that we would win. We also knew that there was lots of opposition out there, but we knew we could overcome it. We never was, in fear of our lives, except for one time.
Oh, when was that?
That was must have been around 1972, 73.
1970.
It happened in the jailhouse. We had a young fellow in jail in the dead of winter, and all he had on was his shorts, and we found out about it. As a matter of fact, Robert Carr, who was the deputy sheriff, came and told us about it. They had this guy in there, this young kid in there, with hardly no clothes on, just his shorts, and it was freezing out, so we went down there and saw it. So we called the county commissioner from Shepherdstown. He came over, and the sheriff came while we were there, and Talbot began to talk with the sheriff upstairs. The sheriff got mad, pulled out his pistol.
Whoa!
Upstairs on the second floor, and I was really fearful that he would shoot us. And we felt that the council member would go along to sheriff. And so I told Talbot, let's get out there, no, let's go. So Talbot kept on, not arguing with him, but was telling him about this and that. And that's about the only time I have really been fearful for our life. But Talbot was pretty calm and, trying to hold his ground.
So this leads me to the next question, George. Civil rights, still big issue in our country. What advice, or based on your long history of involvement in civil rights issues, what advice would you give to people who now want to become involved and keep up the struggle?
I would tell them to get out there and get yourself a buddy or two and just challenge the system. That's all. They got to go out there and challenge and bring up the issues and fight for it.
Do you see that happening?
Slowly, very slowly, and I see very little progress.
What could make a difference? Do we need more people involved in the issue, or
more people that are really sincere about it and really want to make a change and willing to fight for it?
You've been in this community for many, 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 many years. Do you see the next generation? Do you see a young group of activists coming up? Does NAACP attracting some younger people?
Yes, I have seen younger people really join the NAACP and really getting involved now. Yeah.
That's encouraging.
But the problem is we don't really have the law to really enforce what we want to take place.
So how do we get these laws enforced? What's a strategy? You got any thoughts?
Well, I'm not very optimistic right now with the way things are going in this country. It's the political scene, and it just doesn't look too good.
Well, now I think one of the things I've looked through all your videos, and we're going to post where videos of George talking about the early years, because we're sort of talking about current times in the future, but there are lots of videos available, especially at the Charlestown Library, that you did an interview about growing up in Charlestown and what you experienced, which I would urge people to listen to. Let me ask you, as we wind this up, you're in your house, as we said. Are you doing okay?
Oh yeah, I'm doing fine.
Now, what are your plans now that you will be retiring from the presidency of the NAACP? I know you're not going to retire from your involvement in civil rights issues, but what's on your agenda for the next couple of years?
Well, just do some writing and research, work on some Black history project.
Oh, like what? What's one? Well, you have are you involved with the Webb Blessing House?
Yeah, I'd like to get some more work on the Webb Blessing House, and also some more on the Black Masonic group here in town, which was the first one in the state. There's lots of projects out there.
And I know you'll undertake them with great skill. Well, thank you, George.
You're welcome.
I have, we didn't even touch upon some of his many, many accomplishments, and founder of the Jefferson County Black Preservation Society, co-founder of the African American Cultural, and it's such a long name, I forget, parade that happens every August.
African Cultural Heritage.
Yeah. In fact, I was going to wear one of my T-shirts from that, but I had to iron it, and I wasn't prepared to do that even for you, George. And also, you've been involved in voter registration activities, so you have been truly an activist in following and working for what you believe in. And I thank you, and stay healthy.
I will.
Thank you, George.